Good morning, good afternoon, depending on what time zone you're in. My name's Christopher Melo. I am the CTO of APC Integrated. I'd like to thank you for joining us. Just want to start by asking, what is the most non-renewable resource in your small business? It's not capital. It's not even your customer lists. It's time. Every day, business owners and their teams are buried under digital debt, endless emails, meeting recaps, manual data entry. The truth is your team spends far too much time working on business instead of growing the business. Today, we're going to introduce you to an ultimate solution, Microsoft Copilot. Think of Copilot not just a piece of software, but as a brand new, highly efficient AI employee who instantly handles all the drudgery, freeing up your human team to focus on strategy, sales, and client relationships. Over the next hour, we'll show you exactly how this AI assistant integrates into your familiar Microsoft 365 environment to deliver and unlock productivity, and how APC Integrated provides essential setup and support to make your success a guarantee. So let me just talk to you a little bit about APC Integrated and who we are. We specialize in bringing enterprise-level technology to small business. We are your complete partner for secure setup, adaptation, and ongoing support of your IT solutions, especially new AI tools like Copilot. Just want to go over the agenda, kind of set some expectations of what we're going to do today. Over the next hour, we'll cover core benefits, show you a couple of live demos and how it works, explain white glove setup and support services. Part of the demos, we're going to be showing you functionality of Copilot in Outlook, Teams, and other Microsoft 365 applications. And then we're going to touch upon some custom automation using Copilot Studio. Copilot Studio is essentially where you can create some really powerful automation, where you can really take advantage of some Copilot AI solution. We're also going to talk about how we can get you started, how APC Integrated gets you started. Small business face a unique challenge: limited staff, limited budget, unlimited demand. You and your team are droning in digital debt. Emails, meetings, status updates, tasks that eat up time. That you need to focus on high value works like sales, strategy, and customer service. We've estimated 40 to 60% of employees' days are spent on monotonous administrative tasks. I'm just going to jump right over to the Copilot team side here, kind of talk about some of the challenges, right? Copilot is not just another chatbot. It's an AI assistant integrated directly into Microsoft 365 apps that you use every day. It works across all your data, emails, documents, meetings, transcripts, to help you more creative and be more productive and skilled. It gives you your time back. How long does it take to catch up after a long meeting or a long day out at the office? Copilot and Outlook can instantly summarize long email threads and even complex ones and draft professional responses in the right tone, referencing specific documents or dates. This can save 1 to 2 hours a week for any busy employee or manager. No more scrambling, taking notes during a meeting. Copilot transcribes and creates real-time summary, highlighting next steps, owners, and decisions, even if you join late, specifically in Teams. After a meeting, it can draft a follow-up email and link it to the transcript. Moving beyond communications, Copilot supercharges document work in Word, It can draft complex employee handbooks or sales proposals from a bullet point. In Excel, you can analyze sales data by simplifying, show me the top 5 products by revenue in Q3. And Copilot instantly generates a chart and insight, no more complex formulas or pivot tables required. So at this point in the webinar, I'm going to be showing my desktop, going over some prompts, showing some basic demos of how Copilot can be used with Microsoft 365. Going to also showing how we integrate Copilot into Microsoft Teams. Bear with me a moment here while I share my screen. Here we have my desktop running Windows 11. With Windows 11, Copilot comes integrated. With a specific license, Copilot can be integrated into your Microsoft 365 applications. Microsoft Copilot shows up as an icon by default, and it's also within the construct of your Start menu. As I run Copilot, Copilot instantly pops up and allows me to create prompts and also do any types of other creation of documents or looking up documents that I have already within my system. As an example, if I'm looking for a specific file, I can type in a prompt in here on new protein shake documents that I have drafted within my system. Copilot instantly looks up any type of document that I have created recently or in the past within Microsoft OneDrive, Microsoft SharePoint, and within my local computer. So as you can see, it has found 2 results. Found the document that I recently updated per this webinar, and also found some insights on some documents that are online within the web. So for the purposes of this demo, I'm pretty much only concerned about the document that I recently created within this demo. As you can see, it's highlighting some information that I'm talking about here in my script today. Moving forward, we can look up other documents as well, depending on what you've recently updated. Now, as I move forward with some other prompts that I could be asking Copilot, I can look up, I'll actually open up this document here within my, let's see, protein shake. Enable editing on this document. And once I enable editing on this document, I can go ahead and make edits and changes to the document, but you also notice that I have the Copilot icon here in the top right-hand corner. As I open up this Copilot icon, it'll help me understand what I can do. Give me a little tutorial here, and it'll help me understand that I analyze this following document and make suggestions to improve it. So say, for instance, there's some grammar changes in here, run-on sentences, punctuation, things that I should be making on this document. I can ask Copilot to analyze the document for me and make any necessary changes. And I can adopt these changes to the document. Creates a quick summary for me. And as I'm reading through the summary, I can make the decision whether or not to apply these changes to the document. It tells me the strengths, areas of improvement. And from here, I can also provides me with an example of the revision of the document. And at any point, I can apply this. Very comprehensive. So as I look through this document, I'm actually looking to summarize this document. So I'm going to ask Copilot to summarize this document for me. I want to mention that as Copilot is summarizing this document, we do have a Q&A section at the top of your screen. If you just click on Q&A here, we have Joe Fiuco here that can answer any of your questions. And then at the end of this presentation, I plan on answering any questions and posting them publicly so we can review them together. So I've asked Copilot to summarize this document, and it's provided me with a summarization in here. Key drivers of the document here, what I can focus on. And it's also made some other suggestions in here in the document. I can also use Copilot to add content to the document as well, based on the information that's in there, such as if I want to highlight a particular format in here and I want to copy and paste this and elaborate on this more, or add some more additional content here, add additional steps, we can ask Copilot to make those suggestions for us. I want to create a kind of sales overview. I'm going to ask Copilot to do a brief overview of the main points and discuss with my team during tomorrow's sales meeting. Copilot's going to analyze that prompt and automatically generate a response based on what I've asked. So I've asked Copilot for a brief overview of the main points of this discussion. And from here, it's brought up some key points that I could bring up in a sales meeting. Very powerful. Lastly, this is a lot of information to go through. So if I want to ask Copilot to summarize this for me in 5 key points. Keep the summary to 5 key points and use simple language. So as you can see, quickly created 5 key points that I could copy and paste and prepare this document for the next sales meeting. I can take this information, copy and paste it, or I can ask Copilot to generate another document for me and so I can download and review this document. There are so many other features and functionality that Copilot has to offer. I'd love to be able to cover them in this entire webinar, but we would probably be here for another hour or so just covering Microsoft Word. So I'm just going to touch briefly on some, key prompts, basically some prompts that I would use and maybe you would use in your small business. Next, I want to move on to Excel. I'm going to open up a quick Excel document here that has some basic information in there. And I'm going to ask Copilot to generate some information. So let me just pull up my prompts here. And I'm going to start with a real basic one. I'm going to ask Copilot to analyze this document. Let's wait for the prompt to come up. So as you can see, it has some generic prompts in here. I'm just going to create a very simple prompt in here. Analyze this table. I do have some other prompts that I'm going to be asking it to do. This is a very basic one. As you can imagine, Excel, especially more detailed spreadsheets, if you have linked spreadsheets, may take a little longer to run. But as you can see, it's generated some results here. And it's prompted me with some information. It's still thinking on some other aspects, but it did a full analytic type of result for me to see exactly the type of data that I have in here. If this was a more detailed spreadsheet, I'd have more detailed information. But again, I'm trying to keep it basic for purposes of time. So as you can see here, as I'm running this, it's also provided with me with some graphs. So if I want to implement some of these graphs into, I can copy the code and put this graph directly into my spreadsheet. Real nice if you're providing some kind of visualization for an executive meeting or doing some kind of presentation within Excel. Next, I'm going to ask it for looking for selling products from May through August and kind of analyze some of these sales in here and generate some additional numbers and graphs. I'd like to also point out that this in particular is a method of we can add formulas. So if you want to ask Copilot and you're not a formula guru, you can ask Copilot to compare, do some basic formulas and even some more advanced formulas depending on your level of Excel. Okay. So I'm asking Copilot to do some pretty advanced stuff here. And it's actually providing me a summary. My top selling products ranks 1 through 8 here. And it's providing me some additional information, okay, on which products are selling the best. Sales units, it's providing me a summary. I can take this information right from Copilot and create another tab or another sheet within my spreadsheet. Or just use that as a reference if, say, for instance, your sales manager or somebody within the organization wants that particular information. Something that would take probably a little bit of time to put together, Copilot does it within minutes. So as a better example, I'm going to ask Copilot now, from May through August, I want to know chai sales versus pre-made chai sales. I'm going to enter that prompt in here. This Copilot is analyzing that information. I ask Copilot for the top selling products from May through August, specific for these two products. And it's providing me with the analytics. Again, these are very broad level examples. I feel that these are some of the questions or some of the prompts that you may or may not be asking Copilot when it comes to spreadsheets. This is something that I just really put together rather quickly that we can highlight and show the power of Copilot. I can copy this information. I can share this prompt. I can provide some feedback on this prompt. I want to also mention that Copilot is a machine language, and it's learning. And it's understanding how you operate. It's understanding some of the questions that you ask or some of the prompts that you put in. So as you use Copilot over time, it understands your behaviors and some of the things that you do on a daily operation. So as the more prompts you add into it, the more it understands you. And we'll get into Outlook, and we're going to get into emails as well. So next, I'm going to open up Outlook. And in Outlook, I'm highlighting a specific email in here from Joe. And Joe had sent out some agenda items on this email. Real basic email. So I'm going to ask Copilot to summarize this email for me. Now, keep in mind, if this was a long email, it had a lot of information in there, I can ask Copilot to provide me with a brief summary, and also ask Copilot to provide me with an agenda on this email or any action items that I need to take on this. Now, I am using Copilot for Sales Insight. Copilot can also be used as a sales tool. So from a marketing standpoint, if this was a sales-generated email, there's other dynamics that we can integrate with Copilot. So say, for instance, I want to do a Copilot reply for this email. So I just asked Copilot to do a reply. So I have some pre-made options in here that Copilot has provided. So say, for instance, I just want, give me an update on this. So generate an update with some key details. So Copilot's writing the email for me. Again, a huge time saver. As I mentioned before, Copilot will understand you a little bit better from a behavioral standpoint, how you type emails, the type of grammar that you use. And over time, as you use Copilot, it'll almost sound like the email's coming from you. Now, we don't recommend just taking Copilot, grabbing the email, and just sending it right out. Make it your own. Personalize it. Add some additional content. So as you can see, it's generated this information. So I'm going to ask it to keep it. So as you can see, it's generated a nice, friendly email based on the information, thanking Joe for sharing this agenda for the upcoming marketing sales meeting on September 24th. I took a look at it. If I want to add some additional content in here, I can. What also Copilot does is, say, for instance, there's a particular paragraph or a section within the email that I don't particularly like. So I'm going to ask Copilot to auto-rewrite that. So I'm going to ask him to rewrite that section with that email, and I'm going to possibly ask it to add more detail. Taking a little longer. Just going to stop that. Highlight this. And I'm going to ask it to make it longer. Hopefully it goes a little quicker. Again, I'm running in a demo environment. Production environment, if you have a Copilot license, runs much quicker. Okay. So as you can see here, it made it longer for me. It's added some additional context, and I have the option here to preview it, and I'm going to ask it to replace it. So it's added some additional context to what I wanted to add. Now from here, I can obviously send the email, and off it goes. So it saved me some time. As I'm explaining this, of course, we're adding time to this, right? But if you're in production, you're in your day-to-day work, and you want to make sure that this is really smooth for you. So as you use Copilot, you get used to the functionality, you get used to the prompts, you get used to some of the preformed text that's in there that allows you to effectively create this email and send it out. Oh, we're not going to send Joe this email because we already had that meeting. That's something that was in the past. So we're going to move on. I'm just going to quickly touch on SharePoint. So SharePoint allows us, we all know what SharePoint is. We've been doing this demo in SharePoint, but Copilot is also part of SharePoint as well. We can ask Copilot to add additional slides. We can ask Copilot to elaborate on a particular slide. We can also ask Copilot to generate images for your presentation. I don't know about you, but whenever I'm creating a PowerPoint, I struggle with finding images. So I can simply ask Copilot to replace a certain image within your existing PowerPoint, or you can ask it to create a brand new slide. So as an example, I'm going to open up Copilot here. Take a second to pop up here. And I've gone through, and as an example, I've created this market analysis report for this T. And I just got done. So I want to see if I'm being repetitive. I want to see if I'm talking about the same topics too often. So I'm going to ask Copilot to just summarize this presentation for me, just to give me a feel for, make sure I have a good flow, make sure I'm talking about the right things, make sure I'm addressing things. So it's going to create an introduction and overview, market and trends, kind of really summarize this for me and really put it in a simplistic form. There are also some other prompts here. I'm just going to grab some prompts and pop them in there. Bear with me a second. Okay. Now, I'm doing this presentation for my boss. So I'm going to ask for my boss that includes an overview of the main points before the meeting with their client. So I'm asking Copilot to provide that for me. So what it does is extrapolating the key information and it's providing the main points before the meeting. So say, for instance, I want to have a review of this PowerPoint before I actually have it with the client. This provides me with some additional information. Maybe focused more on revenue or maybe focused on closing a particular deal. Now I'm going to ask it for slides 5 and 10 in the PowerPoint presentation. Now think of it as a conversation. I asked it to summarize. That was the first thing I asked it to do. So we don't have to ask it to summarize again. All I'm doing is just continuing the conversation. I'm asking it to summarize slides 5 and 10 because I've gone through the rest of the slides. And I'm kind of iffy on slides 5 through 10, and I want to see if it can elaborate and provide an additional summary specific on that. So as you can see here, it's providing me an update on slides 5 through 6, and I can analyze this to see if I'm being repetitive or not. Very powerful. Last part of the PowerPoint demo, I'm going to ask it to do some key bulleted points. Please format the main points as bulleted lists to use as a professional tone. Now, it's only doing this on slides 5 through 10. Now, if I want it to do for the entire presentation, I have to be specific. Again, it's a conversation. I'm having a conversation with Copilot. It remembers the last question that I've asked it, so I'm just elaborating a little bit more. Now, for purposes of this demo, I'm not going to ask Copilot to generate any images. However, it does give me the option to generate images within Copilot if I want to create an image of the description. So say, for instance, market analysis report for Mystic Premium Spice Chai Tea. It created this graphic for me. So this is actually a Copilot generated graphic that I created. And I created an image of the description based on this current slide. And as I progress through some of the other slides, these are all Copilot generated, royalty-free, by the way, images that were put into this PowerPoint presentation. Okay. So let's get back to our slides here. And zip back over to our next section, which is Copilot Studio. Now, we've talked about what Microsoft 365 integration with Copilot, helping you with day-to-day Microsoft 365 applications. Now, we're going to discuss another aspect of Copilot, and that's through automation through Copilot Studio. Essentially, While Copilot in Microsoft 365 is fantastic for personal productivity, Copilot Studio is how a small business gets to a whole new level of efficiency. It's a platform that we use to build custom AI agents and automate those repetitive cross-application workflows unique to your business. Think of a custom agent as a digital employee that you train once. It uses the power of AI and integrates with the power of platform like Power Automate, which is another Microsoft product, to talk to all your different systems. It can handle common requests like what's the status of a certain order, or set up a new employee in all of our systems. As a scenario, a small business has a manual invoice process, emails received, data entered into, let's just say, QuickBooks. Manager needs to approve it via an email. With Copilot Studio, we can create an agent that reads the invoice email, extracts key data, creates an invoice in QuickBooks, sends the manager an email or a Teams message for approval, archives the invoice, let's just say it archives it in SharePoint. This is hours saved in every week. So that's just one small example. We have part of this is showing you Copilot Studio. Now, Copilot Studio is a very elaborate application that we can create an example such as an onboarding process. New employee comes on board into the company. We can set different triggers. We can get them created within Microsoft 365, apply certain licenses. For purposes of this demo, I couldn't come up with anything specific that I would run through. To run through an entire automation type of script, it would take hours. So I'm just going to switch back. I'm going to share my screen and just show you the interface of Copilot Studio. Just bear with me. Okay. In an effort to save time, I have already logged into my Copilot Studio. And then I can see here, Copilot Studio also works with prompts. So say, for instance, you have an idea, such as that invoicing that I was talking to you about, where you received an order via email. And from there, you want to get that email into into QuickBooks. Say if it's a quote request, say if it's for a new order, and we can process a particular flow. So from here, I can enter into that prompt in there, and Copilot will actually help me and walk me through the creation of this particular agent. Also, we have other agents in here that we can create a website agent. We can create a voice agent. We can create a safe travel agent, provides answers to commonly travel questions and related health and safety guidelines. So as an example, Microsoft just puts a bunch of them in here. Document processor. Now, this is very similar to the one I was just talking about. So we also have See More, where Copilot has a bunch of other examples in here that you can walk through and set up. So at APC Integrated, we can help you with this process. We have Copilot Studio professionals that can provide all these integration points, take a look at how you work, some of the monotonous tasks that you do on a day-to-day basis, tasks that take up hours of your employees' time, tasks that could be something that we want to prevent human error, that can extrapolate certain information. We can also create particular agents that gather information from people that submit information from your public-facing or marketing website or internally. Specifically, we use it in-house to process any type of information that gets sent to us by clients, any emails that get sent to us by a client. Like say, for instance, a client sends us an email that they're interested in upgrading to Microsoft Windows 11. They're on Windows 10. So what we do is we have a process. We can send them an auto-responded email that lets them know that we've received that email. We gather that information, we create a ticket on it, and we can automate that process. Really streamlines everything. Let me just exit out of this here. And as you can see, we can create flows, agent flows. We can actually create specific agents that run within your Outlook or run within Microsoft Teams, all various tools. Now, you looked at some of the canned ones that we had in there. From here, we can create manual agents directly by following a process. Now, say for instance, I want to describe my agent in here. So as an example, here you can build the agent and get more done. You can say something like, provide the best practices for project management, or help my teammates onboard to a new project. What would you like to make? So as I mentioned before, you can ask Copilot to automatically create the agents for you, and then you can go in and tweak it. But for more elaborate type of configuration, we recommend that you contact us, especially if you need any kind of integration points. I'm going to just close this out real quick and get back to our slide. Now we're coming up on time here. APC Integrated, we take a proven three-phase approach when working with Copilot. Obviously, readiness and secure setup, automation and support, and continuous improvement. So deploying AI needs to be done correctly and securely. Our service is not a one-time install, it's a partnership. We follow proven, a three-phase approach tailored for small business. Phase one, first, we ensure your Microsoft 365 tenant is secure and Copilot ready. That means your licensing is in order. You have all the prerequisites in place. And we determine that from a security level and both a licensing level. We audit your data permission, so Copilot doesn't share data that it shouldn't. That is very important. AI is a very powerful tool. And essentially, the AI Copilot will have access to your entire Microsoft 365 tenant. So it's essential that we make sure we secure that. From a licensing standpoint, pricing, we also review that with you. There is an approach where not every single user in your organization needs to have Copilot. You may have field workers that don't require Copilot. However, we find that Copilot is more for administrative tasks, administrative personnel, or individuals that are requiring some additional flow, such as salespeople and other administrative tasks. For phases 2 and 3, we work with you to identify your first AI agent, AI flow. First, one of two most impactful custom flows using Copilot Studio. After setup, our monthly support package ensures that your Copilot is always working. Your team has dedicated help desk for prompting advice, and we conduct quarterly reviews to find new ways to automate and save your time. This is a long-term success plan. The first step is understanding your unique AI needs. We offer a free, no obligation AI readiness assessment where we review your current Microsoft 365 setup and identify the top 3 impact tasks that we want to automate for your business right now. So essentially, we log into your environment, we take a look at your business, we understand some of the time-consuming operations or tasks that we do, and we make some suggestions on that. Currently, Microsoft is offering a 6 months free of Copilot. What that means is you need to enroll in Copilot for up to 1 year, and you have to have a minimum of 5 licenses. For some additional information on or more details on the 6 months free on us, reach out to APC Integrated. You can either reach out to myself, Joe, and we can provide you with some additional information. Microsoft Copilot is the single best productivity opportunity for small business today. With APC Integrated as your partner, we can deploy it confidently and strategically. I want to thank you for your time, and now I'm happy to take any questions. Let me pop over here to the Q&A section here. Does anybody have any questions? Please. We have our contact information here, apcintegrated.com. Also, for some additional information on Copilot, we've provided our phone number and email. So want to add before I conclude is that promotion that we were talking about in one of the previous slides with the 6 months free. I believe that ends the end of business day today. That's not a sales tactic. That's just something that Microsoft has released. We were a little slow to present this to everyone. However, there are some, if you're not ready to make a decision on Copilot today, as of this date on the 30th of September, we do have some other options and some other promotions that we can offer you as well. Again, I'd like to thank everyone for joining us today, and I appreciate your time. Enjoy the rest of your day.